The content in this audio was created by Quinton Sanders and will be read by a professional voiceover artist. Hi, I'm Quinton Sanders, and I would like to share my thoughts on the concept of information versus transformation, inspired by an audio I listened to from Steve Chandler, where he talks about the difference between seeking information and seeking transformation. He explains that choosing transformation means choosing to change one's life, while choosing information means simply acquiring knowledge without necessarily applying it. In the audio, Steve shares that he was once stuck in life for many years, and he believes that knowing the difference between information and transformation was one of the keys to becoming unstuck. He gives an example of how he can tell whether someone attending his seminars is there for information or transformation based on the look in their eyes. He explains that he uses exercises and interactive coaching in his seminars to encourage transformation and the application of what is learned. Steve also notes that some people attend seminars and programs seeking information but do not apply what they have learned to their lives. He believes that this is why some people attend many self-help programs without seeing any real change. He also mentions that in his previous experience in corporate training, CEOs often express skepticism about the effectiveness of training programs, as they believe that nothing ever changed. When faced with the common belief that training doesn't bring about real change, Steve took it as a challenge to find a way to make things different after training. He realized that simply gaining information was not enough to bring about transformation. To illustrate this point, he used the example of learning to play the piano. Steve admitted that he used to think that reading books, attending seminars, and watching videos about playing the piano would be enough to learn how to play well. However, he found out that this approach only provided information, and did not lead to any significant change in his ability to play. Steve then went on to explain that transformation involves changing who we are and how we operate. If we want to make more money or learn to play the piano, we need to undergo a transformation, which involves changing the way we think and act. In the case of playing the piano, simply gaining knowledge about how to play is not enough. Transformation requires a different approach, such as practicing consistently and taking risks to push oneself beyond their comfort zone. Steve observed that many people still fail to see the difference between information and transformation, even when they attend the same seminars and read the same books repeatedly. They continue to struggle with the same problems and ask the same questions. The reason for this, according to Steve, is that they are still relying solely on the information, without making any real effort to transform. He suggests that to truly transform, people need to take action and make changes in their behavior and mindset. Steve once asked one of his listeners if they had watched or read one of his videos and books, to which they responded that they had read one of his books and enjoyed it, as well as attended a seminar on the same subject 2 years ago. The listener then expressed their current confusion and lack of understanding regarding a problem. Steve used the metaphor of riding a bicycle to illustrate their point that simply acquiring information and knowledge is not enough to solve a problem or achieve success. Steve emphasized the importance of taking action and applying what is learned to achieve transformation. He also gave an example of a successful life coach who attended their seminar and focused on applying what he learned rather than just accumulating more information. He contrasted this with other attendees who were more focused on taking notes and accumulating information but had not experienced any transformation in their lives. He then emphasized that there are two ways to approach personal growth, for information or transformation. Some people may even reread a book that resonates with them to further internalize its teachings. After finishing a book, a person opens it up to page 1 and begins taking notes. This attitude demonstrates a commitment to transformation, rather than just gaining information. The person believes that seminars and books can be either transformative or informative, and they prefer the former. Steve recommends a book called Expect to Win by Matt Fury, which emphasizes the power of small improvements over big leaps forward. The book quotes John Wooden, a renowned coach, who says that consistent, small improvements eventually lead to significant gains. The person has also used an exercise by Dr. Nathaniel Branden, which involves completing the sentence stem, if I improved my by 5%, my endings would be. By making small improvements in various areas, John believes that true transformation can occur. When someone struggles to make progress on a project, such as writing a book, they may feel overwhelmed by the amount of information available to them. They may have read multiple books on the subject and attended seminars, but still feel stuck. To overcome this, it is suggested that they commit to a small practice of just 15 minutes a day. They should sit down and work on their project for those 15 minutes, even if they don't write anything significant. By consistently showing up and putting in the effort, they will start to see transformation rather than just gaining more information. This approach has been used successfully in other areas, such as playing the piano. By committing to 15 minutes of practice each day, someone who previously struggled with playing can eventually become proficient. It is important to note that it doesn't have to be 15 minutes specifically, and even a smaller commitment can lead to radical change. Some individuals may be hesitant to leave their comfort zone and take on a new challenge. However, by consistently committing to a small daily practice, they can overcome this fear and eventually see real progress. It is not necessary to strive for perfection or greatness from the start, but rather to focus on consistent effort and improvement over time. However, due to most people's lack of confidence and discomfort in their abilities to write well, play the piano, and learn new skills, they feel overwhelmed by the options and don't know where to start. Steve believes that many people are stuck in their comfort zone and unable to take action to improve their lives. To address this issue, Steve quotes Matt Fury, who suggests committing to doing something for just 1 minute each day, such as exercising, cleaning, or learning a new word. Steve explains that even 1 minute outside of one's comfort zone can be powerful in stretching one's abilities and creating momentum for change. He also reflects on his experience studying Russian in the army, which was different from studying a language in school, because it was more immersive and practical. He notes that adults tend to rely on traditional learning methods like reading and watching videos, but children learn languages more quickly by immersing themselves in the language and interacting with native speakers. Based on Steve's experience, the Army desires its personnel to learn a new language, which would aid them in their military operations, defense, and strategic activities. To achieve this, the Army enrolls them in the Defense Language Institute, which focuses on transformation-based language learning. The students engage in interactive activities throughout the day, communicating with other students and instructors in the language they are learning. The course consists of 6 teachers, each teaching in a separate classroom, and only speaking in the language being taught. The students are not permitted to use English, and as a result, they must transform themselves into someone who can use the language from day one. This approach has been highly effective, producing students who are fluent and proficient in the language. The instructor emphasizes the effectiveness of transformation-based learning, as it helps learners to immerse themselves in the language and learn quickly, similar to children learning languages in foreign countries. The instructor also shares their personal experience of taking a Spanish course for diplomats and government workers in Mexico. The course was highly interactive, with the students speaking only Spanish and engaging in practical activities. The instructor believes that the key to success in learning anything, including making money, becoming fit, improving relationships, etc., is through transformation-based learning, rather than information-based learning. They caution against programs that promise quick language learning by just listening, as it is unlikely to be effective. Steve gives a scenario where he had a difficult time years ago when he used to sell seminars and keynotes. Despite reading all kinds of books on selling and taking sales courses, he was having a hard time selling. One day, he had a conversation with his friend, Lindsay Brady, who is a hypnotherapist and author, and they made a deal where he would sell for a certain amount of minutes each day, log it, and report it to her. This way, he would be held accountable. He started with a really small step, spending only a certain amount of minutes each day, and everything changed. His sales went way up because the transformation was occurring, instead of just information accumulating. Steve emphasizes the importance of finding an area where one wants to be different, stronger, and breaking it down to the smallest step that would keep them in action. He suggests putting a chart up on the wall and checking it off to have the satisfaction of knowing that one is doing their allotted time each day. He explains that this isn't something where a person needs a new personality, or a lot of motivation, or willpower to do it, because it is reduced to such a small amount. All they have to do is choose to do it and take action. He gives the example of Stephen McGee, who had clients agree to do 1 minute of exercise a day or 10 minutes, even if they were totally out of shape. The idea is to reduce the task to the smallest possible step, so there are no excuses not to do it. Steve suggests a simple method for transformation and self-improvement, which involves starting with small actions and building up gradually, rather than setting unrealistic goals and giving up when they seem unattainable. For example, Steve suggests starting with a 20-minute walk one day, then increasing by 1 minute each day for the next few days. He emphasizes that this method is a choice, and does not require any specific personal qualities such as willpower or motivation. He encourages people to focus on taking action and making choices rather than getting bogged down in analyzing and acquiring more information. However, this method is not always obvious to everyone, as some people have not discovered it until later in life. According to Steve, many people believe that they lack the necessary willpower, courage, stamina, or sense of purpose to achieve their goals. He acknowledges that he has been guilty of this mindset himself, telling negative stories about himself that would discourage him from taking action. He believes that this kind of thinking is common and can hold people back from true transformation. He believes that simply acquiring information is not enough to learn effectively because true learning requires transformation, which involves interacting with the information, testing it out, experimenting, and even experiencing failure. This process can be uncomfortable and challenging, but it is necessary for growth and improvement. Steve suggests that people often become addicted to gathering information as a way to avoid failure and taking risks. However, he argues that true transformation and learning require action and engagement with the information. He suggests starting with small actions and building from there, such as practicing a language with a friend or playing the piano for a few minutes each day. Therefore, it can be said that transformation is a choice that anyone can make, regardless of their perceived lack of willpower or other limitations. By focusing on taking small actions, individuals can build momentum and achieve significant transformation over time. I have seen in coaching clients that too much information oftentimes actually gets in the way of growth. Some information is great, but it only gets you to a certain point. Life-changing transformation happens when there is an awareness or insight that leads to small changes over a period of time, which then leads to transformation.